We're going to get into some more of the metaphysical things that I kind of try to implement into my business and that I'm so super psyched about, and I hope that other people start to incorporate into their business. Megan's here to talk about a little bit of intuition and see what's kind of spurs off that. But Megan, if you want to introduce yourself, what you do, what you're about, all those cool things.
Yes, well, first off, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
Sure.
here. So, my name is Megan Lund. I own a personal wellness enterprise that is located out of Charleston, South Carolina, and that is comprised of two different facets. So, one is where I do one-on-one coaching, and we really focus on movement and mindset. And that is the basis of what you're able to do in life. If your body isn't in motion and if your mind isn't on track, you're not going to be accomplishing your creative goals, any sorts of goals. And under that guise, I have just about every sort of certification under the sun. I'm a personal trainer, an accountability coach, a Reiki Master, Colombian healing lights facilitator, a whole bunch of different energy modalities. And so that's one aspect. And then the other aspect is creating community, because so many people don't know how to make friends as adults. And so I kept hearing the same issue in my office. So I was like, I can fix this. I'm an alcoholic. So I was like, well, I'm going to take the booze out of this and we're going to have some fitness classes. So I have monthly events in Charleston, from sound baths to boxing. We're about to start doing socials. So my whole goal is helping people become the best versions of themselves and who you are. So if you're a woo-woo girl or a woo-woo dude, let's get it. If you're kind of in the middle, you believe something out there, but you're not sure. Or if you're an alpha atheist, I got you covered.
I would be writing her number down. Everybody, pencils and paper right now. Oh my God, she's got like literally every fix. I love that. I think that's, oh my God, my brain is, we're going to talk about intuition, but now you got 3 hours kind of thing. No, I love that. I think that's fantastic. So you're out of South Carolina, Charleston.
Yep.
I actually was just there for the first time. So super cute.
Isn't
I
it?
love it over there. I would love to go back. Super quaint. But okay, so since you've got so much stuff going on, you mentioned about kind of physicality and then like mental, right? Both. We're always talking about, one of my big platforms is speaking to other creatives, obviously small businesses at the same time. But you bringing up like the physical side of things, that's something that I try to get out and do. I was kind of a fitness person for a while, and then you have a kid and things happen and you're like, well, it's a body. So that's where I'm at now. But let's start with that though. I always try to tell creatives, get out and do something. I think it really does help the creative brain, and I'm sure it does a lot for intuition.
It absolutely does. Your body, like this is the vessel for your soul. So if you're in pain, if you're not able like to move properly, you're not going to be able to focus on the projects that you want. Plus, when you look good or when you feel good, you look good, and vice versa. I didn't make the rules. People get upset. You don't have to be a psycho like me. I mean, I get up at 4 a.m., but go for a walk, stretch, drink a water, have a vegetable. So you are priming, when you prime yourself, your body, drinking a water. See, you already got it.
Can't help it.
But that is the basis of it, because otherwise you're going to run out of energy. You can have all the great ideas in the world. You can be fueled by all the passion of intention and spirit and intuition. But if you don't have the physical energy to get it going, and then the cool thing too is that once you start implementing these processes, there's something powerful that happens within you where you're like, I can climb Mount Rushmore, Mount Everest, K2, and you might not be able to, but it's the fact that you have that feeling, and that feeling can really take you a long way.
I believe that too. I mean, I went through the same thing, and it is you feel, people struggle, the physical in general, people struggle with, right? We're bouncing that off of other people all the time. So I feel like when you can overcome that, you do feel fairly invincible. Like it's very bizarre how it happens. And mine always started from this like small, I'm very much a baby steps person. I like started changing my diet, and I was like, you know what? We're just going to pull butter. Like,
that's
just
perfect.
pull the butter out.
That's perfect. So, the micro makes the macro. And so many people want to do huge life overhauls. You're screwing yourself. So just like that sort of, taking the butter out, having one more glass of water, saying no to that donut, Go
Yeah.
like hitting 5,000 steps instead of 4,000 steps.
Yes.
That's momentum. And momentum is
Yes.
what's going to get you where you need to go.
Absolutely. And I would say, especially for creatives, I mean, I'm sitting on my ass
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
because you get into a creative mode and a jive, and all of a sudden 6 hours go by and you're like, are there blood clots forming in my legs? That's the kind of thing we really actually have to worry about as creatives. So I'm just glad that we're bringing this point up. So I think overall for me, it's just starting small, getting out for a walk, doing something like that. Do you have anything just from a creative perspective that you can say, hey, this is a really good way to get started, other than tiny things? I don't know. Is it like just about what you like to do? That's what I do.
Well, I think that like for your demographic that's listening, if you're you get in that creative jive, and I get it, like you're in it to win it. But if
Yep.
you could set an alarm once an hour that you just go walk around for 5 minutes, even
Yep.
like arm circles, dude, like you're just
Yes.
anything to just get that blood pumping. But really, I just think picking one thing and then going for it, because your brain will be fight you on it, but you have to reward
Yeah.
yourself. So if you are able to walk 3 times a week and then you start 4, you're going to get that momentum. So really it's micro little changes that
Yeah.
really last. Very few people can do a complete life overhaul and be
No.
successful with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, I'm so big on scheduling. I'm so big on
Me too.
my how it is, and I plug it in. Like, I have kind of a ritual in the morning that I've gotten away from, but it helps me kind of get back on the horse, because I knew that's what I was doing, and I'm like, as long as I schedule it, it'll happen. So I have my 30 minutes for exercise, whether that's going out and just being a lazy walk, or it's, okay, I need to do some sort of something in my bedroom, jumping around or whatever, and then I have my reading time or whatever like that. So that's always worked for me. Kind of combining that, I think, with the small things, making sure you have the time to do it and forcing yourself, and then
You have to make yourself. The thing is that
you do.
motivation is fleeting. So people are like, I don't have motivation. I lost my motivation. Y'all, that's just an emotion. It's
Yeah.
meant to get you started. You have to be
Yes.
disciplined. And I am a Pisces. I am not like discipline was not something that comes like it's not something that comes natural to me. I have
Yeah.
to force this aspect, but then all of a sudden it becomes a habit, and you will always default to
Mm-hmm.
your habits. So
Yep.
it takes either 21 days or 257 days so to form a new habit. I've never seen anyone take 257 days, for the record.
No,
Okay.
I'm saying that's a broad jump right there.
Yeah,
I'm
like
hoping for the 27, right?
yes, I've never seen anyone take that long, but you come back to your habits, and so that's
Yep.
why it's these small changes that just really make such a difference.
Yeah, I think there's just a knock on too if when you get the physical going, and I think this is where this intuition situation's going, but it really, for me, translates into a lot of other things. If I can get that right, if I can get that situated, other things just really follow suit, but it just gets my brain in a spot to create. I don't know if I've heard people like using kind of fitness and physical movement as almost a replacement for meditation. Not really. If you don't really meditate, it's like finding
Yeah,
something that can put it in that like
yeah.
container to just move away from everything. That's really helped me to get just in a creative mindset in general, and even running a business.
Oh, absolutely. Every successful billionaire entrepreneur, they've got a few things. They have an astrologer, they have a personal practice.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They have an astrologer. They are making those big deals on those dates.
Yeah.
And they're working out. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're taking Sir Richard Branson, homeboy is getting up in the morning. Okay.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, if I could just have a little nugget of what, like,
I just need a cool little nugget. We'll be good. I promise the things I could do.
just a little nugget. So, yeah. So I'm looking at what works, what successful people who have done, and then also what people have not, unsuccessful people or people who have not hit, because we all have goals. The thing is, everyone has the same goal. If you go to the Olympics, everyone wants to win gold. What's different is your habits and your system of habits that get you there. So and this is not something that came natural to me. So I've just poured everything in it from various perspectives. So like I said, depending on who you are, is depending on how we approach it. But it works for everybody.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the biggest things that got me into being comfortable with it was the fact that I was going through a bad breakup, and I just started running because I had all this energy I had to get out.
Yes.
And I was literally, you would have thought it was hilarious. I had a friend actually because I lived in a place with cul-de-sacs. So I would run at night. But I always run to music. So at some points, my gay self is coming out and I'm like skipping and I'm like punching and I'm like doing all kinds of things. And I had my best friend who lived next door. She was like driving behind me at one point and I saw you on your little jive there at 9 p.m.
You okay,
but that was, yeah, like, all right. I'm like, it's my time. So that was the thing that really got me. And I think people like think that it needs to be being physical or having some sort of regimen like that has to be something that like you hate.
No, can't be. Everyone's different. So I enjoy lifting weights. Like I enjoy challenging myself. If you don't enjoy that though, you're not going to do it. So if it's tennis, pickleball, if running, you want to throw rocks, I don't care. But just move your body, because otherwise, you're going to become cement, especially all y'all are sitting at the desk, making your magical projects.
Working on our humps.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you're going to it's called Dowinger's hump. And trust me, once that starts to form, you're not getting rid of that.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I agree. And like I said, making way for kind of this mental space, I forget that it helps me do that. And then I start doing it again and I'm like, oh my God, this was the problem. But leaning into this, because this is the real thing that I'm like, how do we do this? Because I'm trying to figure it out myself. Intuition is such it's like everybody talks about it. It's like mom's intuition, like intuition in general, like mediumship, all that stuff. And I'm a very logical person. So I'm trying to narrow down on how do you really recognize intuition? What is intuition? And how do you start to like really hone that in a creative perspective? And I'm hoping we can like pick the shit out of your brain on this.
Let's go for it.
So first of all, I want to know, what is intuition and where does it come from?
So everyone has intuition. It is that knowingness. It's not a thought though, okay? It is a and there's a difference between it. Our thoughts, that's a whole different conversation, but it's that knowingness. It's typically located in your gut, right around your solar plexus. And that's why like when our energy fields, our brains, it is constantly perceiving what is around us. So if you've ever walked in and you've been like, that person is a turd, and then you didn't trust that, and then you get later on, everyone was like, no, they're not a turd. And then of course later on, it's so it's that exactly. It's that knowingness. But society tells us that you can't trust it. It's not a feeling either. So that's where we get all discombobulated with it. It's not a thought. It's not a feeling. It's just this knowingness. You know who you are. You know at the essence, you know what you're capable of. You might fight it, but deep down, once your bullshit's done, sorry, I don't know if I'm able to if you're like, once that chatter of those insecurities, the feelings are often from the past. We think a thought and have an emotion. People are not just spontaneously emoting all over the place. So we often let the past hijack the present and dictate the future. And so to me, when I saw that question, I was like, it's just knowing. You know what you're supposed to do. It's here. You can feel it. You know when you're lying to somebody and you feel it, you're like, oh shit. And so it is just this force. It is a connection to the divine. It is whether your brain is picking up vibes. It is a knowingness of what you need to do, how you need to proceed. Now here's the thing, it's gonna scare you, okay? It is supposed to scare you because humans we're creatures of comfort. Your brain, it doesn't want you to take any chances. Your brain's sole purpose is to keep you alive. So that's what it's going to do. So your thoughts are gonna be like, we're not going to do this.
Thing.
That's silly. You remember, you're a loser. If you have a negative self-concept or self-image, no one likes you. Why would you think you're going back to fourth grade or third grade when you got bullied? And so it's like, your ideas are dumb. Why would you do this? And it's a weird default mechanism of the brain where it's trying to protect you, but it's also sabotaging you from living your life essence.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like, obviously as creatives, we're dealing with imposter syndrome. We're dealing with all of that all the time because we're so inherently connected to the work we're doing. I say this all the time where I'm like, somebody wants to hire us and because they like our work, they like us. So it makes it really hard for us to do anything else. We're so uber connected to all of that. And obviously putting imposter syndrome on top of it just kind of compounds everything. Yeah, I think people have gotten to a point, like you said, that I don't even realize that we're ignoring it. For me, intuition has always been a policing of, it's kind of the way astrology works, at least for me. It's always hindsight's 2020. It's like I can always tell what was going on after it happened. You know what I mean? It's, that made sense then.
Yes.
And now. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mel Robbins, she said, when you look back at your life, you can see where every pinpoint has gotten you to the map where you're at now. And right now, like in this conversation, this is a pinpoint. And so we've been taught society tells us you can't trust yourself. You can't fit into this mold. This is what you need to be like. So it's the ultimate act of bravery to trust yourself and to be willing to put your project out and to also be willing to suck. Because all creatives, the first thing we do, unless you're some sort of savant, which then this isn't for you.
Sorry, you can turn it off now. Next episode.
Yeah. God bless. Good luck. But but we're taught to not trust ourselves, and it's the ultimate act of bravery to be like, I'm willing to enter the arena, be bad, and then it's a force within you that it pushes that envelope. And the more you ignore yourself, because you're ignoring your soul at this point. When you ignore your intuition and that project or that creative nudge and urge, it gets louder. It's not, oh, okay, don't worry, we're gonna go away. It's like Jumanji. Those drums are like boom, and it's going to haunt you until you show up, or someone else is then going to get that creative nudge from the universe. It's called, what is it called? I forget the term. Collective. I'll have to email you the term. But it's where the universe or whatever, it's been proven in books, science, but everyone gets this idea that's sprinkled around the globe, okay? Yeah. And then who's going to take it and who's going to run with it? And that's who gets the fruits of that labor.
Yes. Actually, so I'm one of my all-time favorite non-creative, non-business creative book, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, is all about the idea that ideas are things, and if you don't pick it up, somebody else will. Fantastic book. If you have not read it, please do it.
So good.
Very quick read. Very bizarre story about that, actually. So I had read Big Magic, and in Big Magic, she talks about State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. And because Ann Patchett, with her, they've transferred ideas, basically.
Yes.
So I'm a big Goodwill bookstore shopper, and I had just finished Big Magic, and I knew I was like, okay, I'm on this Elizabeth Gilbert kick, and I hadn't read anything else, and Ann Patchett, right? So I get to Goodwill bookstore, and I'm searching around. First thing I find is State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. Hadn't read it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay,
it's a sign.
Okay. And then right next to it, in that same book, she talks about Committed, which is her other book that she wrote about her and her partner. So Elizabeth Gilbert's Committed. That was like right near it. So I picked that up. Wow. And I went in there for Eat, Pray, Love because I had never read that. And I was like, okay, I have to after this now. Searching around, I'm like, oh, it's not here or whatever. And I'm just about ready to leave. And they always wheel the carts out where the books that are getting ready to put up. And I'm like, let me just go over here. If the damn thing wasn't sitting there, and I walked out with all three. And I was like, okay.
Trifecta.
I was supposed to. Like, all this stuff was lining up. I'm like, thank you, Elizabeth Gilbert. So there was my pitch for Elizabeth Gilbert, by the way.
Incredible.
If you would like to be a guest on my podcast, please let me know.
Yes. Yeah.
But so, yes, the idea of like ideas being things has always really resonated with me. And creatives have got it's a complex, I think, at this point where we're in an industry where in the world we're already comparing ourselves to others, right? But in the creative world, it's like times 10. We've created all these rules for ourselves, by ourselves, based on creativity, especially in the design world, right? And we're always trying to meet those. So it's like the designers that are meeting those are the designers that aren't. And the ones that aren't are trying things, but then they're comparing themselves against these rules. So it really dampens down, for me, when I've started to really look at it, it's dampening down any of that self-trust and ability to allow that it's just like a magic. It just, it
flows.
It does. If you just let it, right? Because I think as creatives, we download shit. That's just what it is. We're like a vessel.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on any of that.
I think I absolutely. I mean, I think with like with the books that you were clearly meant to, like, you were on a frequency, you were on
Yeah.
a vibe, you were on a
Yeah.
mission, and it's trusting, it's once again trusting yourself. It's trusting that you went to, let me go just check out. You could have been like,
Yeah.
oh, I got these 2 books. How lucky am I? And you said, just
Yeah.
let me go check. It's that was your intuition.
Yeah.
So we expect, once again, humans make sense. It's always got to be big. Got it big or go home.
No,
God's
yeah.
got to come down from the sky and strike me with thunder. No, I mean, it can be that loud, and
That'd be cool.
I don't want to be struck by the sky. But it's just trusting yourself, and even when with creatives too, the willingness to be able to fail,
Yeah.
that's okay. But when it
Yeah.
comes to comparison, there's some interesting data about jealousy and envy. Jealousy can be a wonderful tool because it shows you what you want. You're never going to be jealous of something that you don't want. So if you're jealous of someone, then what are they doing? What can you emulate? Instead of
Yeah.
looking at it from a perspective of and harboring resentment or hatred, what is this person doing? Get inspired by them. A lot of emotions
Yes.
are, yeah, they run parallel. Anxiety and excitement, they present the same in the body. It's just
Yeah.
what you tell yourself. So
Yes.
if you up the ante with jealousy, though, there's envy. And envy is where you get active. We don't want to live in the land of envy. That's when you're like, your work sucks, bro. Okay.
Oh.
And you'd be like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like
Straight
what?
for the throat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if someone ever does anything like that, just know that when people come at me in that manner, I'm like, oh, I'm doing something great, for them to feel so threatened. It's all
Yeah.
perspective. It is all perspective, and it takes work. We're human beings, and especially if you're in a creative mindset, if you're doing something, you're probably a little sensitive. So if someone tells
Oh
you
yeah.
that you suck, that's my baby.
That's what. Yeah. How dare you? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I agree. So getting down to, because like I said, I'm a very logical person. So let's go back to thoughts versus intuition, because I think this is, for me, this is where it started, and I've seen some things here and there on what that distinction is, but I want to know what you think on what that whole thing is. So how do you know if it's intuition? Like, obviously it's a feeling, but how do you really distinguish between
So
a
it's a
thought and
no,
a feeling?
yeah. So it's a no, because your feelings. So you think a thought and you have an emotion, and
Okay.
that's so when you think about it, like if have you ever been in the shower or anywhere and you're like just give it, you think of someone and you start like you're giving them the business, and you're just like
Right.
when I see this. I'm gonna get, and you're just everything, and what happens? You hype yourself up, and
Yeah.
who's angry? Yeah, now your cortisol's flooding your body. You're all agitated for no reason, and so it's a matter of your thoughts are not your own. And if you don't mind your thoughts and start to see them, then they will think you. So we have
Yeah.
70,000 thoughts a day, if like at a minimum. So that's it, a lot of thinking, a lot of random stuff, a lot of magic. But it's a matter, I really work something primarily, it's called the law of assumption. Law of attraction is great. Probably everyone and their mother has heard of it. But if you think about where was anyone getting any results? Where, yeah,
Yeah.
like you read The Secret, you kind of did some of these things, cool. Nothing ever really materialized for like it did for Rhonda Burns and everyone else. So the law of assumption is a little different. How you assume your life to be is how it is going to be. So whatever you dominantly tell yourself, that is because of something called cognitive bias in science, your brain is going to filter out all the other stimuli. So if you tell yourself, I'm amazing, I can do this, then your brain's, sure are, bud. Boom. If you tell, and that's what you'll be shown. If you are, I'm a loser, I can't do this, then it's okay, I'm going to show you that reality as well. And so we put so much stock into thought, but it's retraining our mindset and our thought process. You decide who you want to be and you start showing up as that person first and foremost through your thoughts, and then your speech.
Oh my
It's my
God.
jam. This changed my life.
I love that, because I mean, what you're saying, so it's like law of assumption versus law of attraction. It's almost like present versus future, because for me, at least what I'm hearing, because law of attraction is very much like I have to imagine my life how it is, and I'm already there. Like that, I think the big thing with The Secret was like, try it with traffic lights, where it's imagine it's all going to be a green light and just feel it being a green light, and then they will be. With law of assumption, it's like you're working with what you already got and what you have in the present, and like you're either shifting the mindset and shifting it towards what you
Yes,
what you want.
it's tangible. There's tangible practices instead of, okay, cool, I'm looking for hearts and I saw some hearts. Yeah, great. How does that translate into me making money and me, supporting myself as an artist? How does that, I saw some hearts, cool. And so, and even sometimes it's prayer, which I'm a big advocate, but you're putting these, please help me, someone out there, please help me. When we have that power within, through our intuition, through our life force, but it's your thoughts are so powerful, and the spoken word is powerful. The cool thing, and we're gonna go a little wild if you don't mind. So your brain has no sense of humor, no sense of time. Okay, it is meant to keep you safe. So that's why when you're yelling at someone in the shower, it feels like it's really happening. Your brain thinks that it's happening. So you are then creating this reality for you. So your feelings are always the last to get on board when it comes to changing your life, because they're 9 times out of 10 rooted in the past. So it's if I'm training for a show right now, a fitness competition, and I'm trying to go pro. This is my second show. So instead of, oh, gee whiz, I hope that I become a pro, I'm there, and I'm visualizing in my head. The minute self-doubt comes into play, I recognize it, but I don't entertain it. I don't identify with it. So when you guys are dealing with imposter syndrome, okay, I see you. I'm scared. I'm fearful. That's okay, but I'm very aggressive. I tell it to fuck off. I mean, I don't got time for it. Because the person who will sabotage you in life, it's you. You can either be the greatest advocate for yourself and the greatest go-getter, or you can there's so many wildly talented people who will never get off the ground because they don't believe in themselves. What you tell yourself, your feelings don't matter. At this point, your feelings are the last to get on board. And so it's telling yourself, like, who do you want to be? And then you start telling, and how would that person operate in the world? How would they show up? How would they move? What would they say? You don't see Tony Robbins talking about what a loser he is.
Yeah.
There's no self-deprecating humor. I used to make fun of myself all the time. Not anymore. Your brain doesn't know you're joking. So it hears you saying these things, and it's, oh, I'm a loser. Even, this is how crazy it gets. If you are like, God, traffic is killing me. And then all of a sudden, you start to get anxiety in traffic. Maybe a migraine. Your brain is, oh my God, traffic is killing you. My job is to keep you alive. Don't worry, buddy. I'm going to create scenarios for you so you're not in traffic. And you won't be able to drive because of your migraine and anxiety. Isn't it nuts?
Oh my God. I'm literally screaming on the inside. The entire time, I'm like, I want to squeal like a little baby right now because she's hitting on so many things. Honestly, I mean, something I've been saying, because I'm on TikTok lives and just when I'm talking to people, and a lot of people think it is such bullshit, but you have to show up with an audience of 0 the same way you would for thousands of people. Like you have to do it when there's nobody. And that's the only way. It's honestly, I'm showing up. I've had people in my lives that are like, oh, look at this guy. He thinks he has I'm like, whatever. I'm like, your ass is not up here.
Well, and also,
you are not doing it.
No one is ever going to criticize you who is doing more. So if you're criticizing me, okay, you're doing less. So once again, thanks. Thanks for the acknowledgement that I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. Yep. That I'm pushing the needle forward.
Yes.
So it all comes down to how you think.
And I really never even thought about it, because your words really do. I mean, and just that extremely mind-blowing just about the brain in general, because obviously I think I did know that it was there to keep you alive. And the more you tell it, right, it just believes it. It's even harder to get over. Right? That's why people are in therapy forever, because it takes you forever to get over the things you tell yourself on like a microaggression level every day. Like it's not, you're being microaggressive to yourself habit, on repeat.
I am is the most powerful words that you can say to your subconscious. Every time someone asks you how you are, y'all say something like, I'm unstoppable, I'm amazing, because your brain hears I am, and that is a direct command to your subconscious, which is where all your limited belief systems are.
Yeah.
So that's where all your triggers are, your fears are. They're not in your conscious brain. Your conscious brain, they're not there. That's why you're like, I could do this, I could do this. And then all of a sudden you show up you say, I was nervous about this podcast, and I was like, oh, my internet isn't going to work. And I create some sort of scenario.
Yeah.
So it's literally, you can reprogram very simple tools. But never say, I am nothing, or I am a loser. Clear, cancel, delete. If you find yourself saying anything like this, you can use this energetic phrase, which is clear, cancel, delete. And to me, it neutralizes.
Love that. Clear, cancel, delete. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think now that I'm even just being, I think we have a hard time even being conscious of what we're normally doing. And even that now that you're pointing this out, which is why coaches and therapists are very needed people, because you have to have somebody who's going to be able to reflect this back. But I'm thinking now, think how often somebody asks me how things are going, or how often I start a conversation off with, this week was crazy, or this week is so much, or I'm so busy, or I'm just good, or I'm like, even just the mediocreness of those responses.
And our brain it's trained to see the negative. It's a byproduct of evolution. So cavemen weren't like, oh, it's a beautiful day, honey. What are we going to eat? It was like death, destruction, saber-toothed tiger, big ass elephant, like mammoth, or whatever. So it's constantly looking for negativity so it could keep us alive. That was its goal. So the thing is, though, we are the safest that we have ever been. Okay, so your brain still is searching for that negativity. So that's why it's having to do that shift and seek the positive, seek, what you want. And so it's common knowledge. We bond over bullshit. We bond over, we trauma bond. Oh, my life is hard. My life is harder. Like maybe a one-upper. No. So ask people, like, what's a good thing? Tell me something good that you're excited about in your life. And watch people kind of squirm, because they're like not used to that question. Yeah. So you can direct those, and then people will be looking forward to seeing you. Your clients will be looking forward to working with you. What are you excited about? What are you passionate about? It's like when we're kids. When's the last time someone asked you how fast you could run in your new shoes? Like this.
Yeah.
This is the same equivalent.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we at whatever age it happens, we start to stifle any
7.
sort of child, like anything. Is it 7?
Yeah. So
where we're like, this is where we stop.
0 to 7. Yep. 0 to 7. We are operating. How did you learn how to be a human? You observed, and however your caregivers took care of you. So if you were told that you were amazing, that you were awesome, like my mom told me every day, which she probably regrets, like, you can do anything. So I'm so delusional in myself that I was like, if I wanted to be an astronaut, it's only like 4 things. I don't want to be an astronaut. It's like 4 things. Okay, it's gonna be a little difficult. No big deal though. But from 0 to 7, we're just very impressionable. That's why we're just whatever your mom and dad or caretakers told you, the words are so important. That's why we believe that there was a man who came down the chimney and gave us presents. There's a creepy lady that steals our teeth and gives us money. Like around 7, you start to be like, wait a minute. And we get different brainwave states. Alpha. So we get these different brainwave states, critical thinking. But what happens to us between 0 to 7, that slides into our subconscious, and that is our limited belief systems. So that's our belief systems on life. So whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. But that's why if you're trying to do something and you feel that you really wanted to, but that panic and it's, oh, I can't do it, and you talk yourself out, there's something, that's a childhood trigger. Words are so important.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even. My brain's like bubbling with all this stuff. I'm like, I don't even know if I can compute. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this episode myself like 12 times. I mean, okay, so I think if we can, because like I said, I'm again back to the logic of like, how do I apply this as somebody that's
very simple
in my messed up thoughts, in my degradation of myself daily. How do I go? Because obviously, I think in everything that's happening, we've started talking about the physicality of everything. We're talking about like actual words and how that's kind of applying itself and getting all of that's all working on all of that is so we can get this intuition to come through, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's being brave enough to get it, to be like, this is the idea and I'm taking it. Or maybe that idea that sucks, but then you meet somebody in your pursuit of that idea that connects you to something bigger and greater. Where I'm at now is a direct result of me just following my intuitions. But your question, so how do we create this process? And that is where, when I started to learn about these things, and I started to get the scientific data, and then I had the energetic principles, and I was like, yes, how the hell do I tell my clients? What do I do? So one thing, we start off with your self-concept. If you have a poor outlook of yourself or a poor self, like, that's your foundation. You're not going to build a house on a shitty foundation. It's not going to, like, you only reap half of your efforts, half of the rewards. And so it's taking a really deep look at yourself and going inward, like, what am I insecure about? What am I scared of? What am I fearful of? And just asking yourself these questions and just muster with it. Just sit with it. Write it down. Like, how was I treated when I was a kid? Was I made to feel like I could do anything? Was I made to feel like I was a bother? What was that feeling as a kid? Once we start to identify your triggers, your insecurities, what we're doing, then we move on to affirmations. And it's very simple. I am amazing. Like, I am capable. I am enough. I am worthy. So it's creating that base to know that, yeah, I'm worthy of going after this dream. I am capable of going after this dream. I am enough. And by the way, you're enough at all times. Like, no one can ever take away enoughness from you. Like, you're born, you're here, you're storing oxygen, you're enough. So it's getting those targeted affirmations. You want to have one that you're just rolling with. You're like, I am amazing. Yes, I know it. Yeah. Then we want to target those insecurities. But it's just saying your affirmations isn't enough. And you want to say them multiple times a day. So I have my clients set an alarm 4 times a day. And if you can verbalize them, great. Thoughts are very powerful, obviously. But the spoken word is 10 times more powerful than a thought. And negative spoken word is 4 times more powerful. So 40 times a negative spoken word is 40 times more powerful than a positive thought. So that is why you remember the terrible things that people have said to you and not the positive ones. Have you ever wondered why you can't remember compliments? But boy, you remember what Bobby said in 7th grade when he called you a gnarly name. And
oh my God.
Isn't it wild? So by saying our affirmations and saying them out loud, because people will leave sessions with me and they'll be like, yes, I can do it. I'm empowered. I'm like, and so I was like, okay, yeah, but we have systems here, people. Okay, like, yeah.
You have to do it.
Yes,
more.
Exactly. So setting these alarms, saying I am. So we get into that. So that's the first step. Then the next step, though, is you have to guard your mental diet. So if you're like, I'm amazing, I can do it. I am the best artist of all time. I am the best podcaster. I am. But then you feel good, and then you get off your affirmations, and then all of a sudden, here comes crippling self-doubt, or here comes a rejection letter, or here comes, this is where you can't let that thought spiral you to the past. You can't attach a feeling to it. Okay, rejection, this stinks, right? But rejection is just redirection. Let me shift this, okay? Boom. True failure only happens when you give up. Like, that's the only way you really fail. Period. Yes. So it's now, once again, you have 70,000 thoughts a day. How the hell are you supposed to, so you're not going to be able to guard or like mind all of them. But if you find yourself doing something and then you're going down this rabbit hole of self-loathing and no one loves me or I'm not special, whatever the case is, that's where, I literally like, no. I talk to myself like a dog. I tell it to fuck off. And then I come back.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. In my next life, I want to be like a golden retriever.
Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah, from a New England family. Call me Chauncey. An Argyle sweater. Like, I need a break from humans. So that's what I'd like.
I might be with you on that for real. I love golden retrievers.
Exactly.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So it's a matter of, we have our affirmations, guarding your mental diet, and then once again, it's the micro. So it just becomes a practice, and it's catching that. And once again, your feelings are the last to get on board. Your feelings are going to be like, this is dumb, this is silly, why are you doing this? Yep. So you keep telling yourself a new story. Now, back to the brain. Here's the cool thing. Visualizing. I'm a shitty meditator, okay? Like, I have ADHD. I question if I'm could you see all these memes on autism. I'm like, am I on the spectrum? Like, am I? Because this makes sense for me. Like, I am. I'm super ADHD. The idea of sitting down and breathing deeply, I want to light myself on fire. It's not for me. So I'll do walking meditation still. I'm like, cool, a bird. The walking meditation is where you're like, you name everything you see, bird, rock, leaf, it's supposed to calm your mind, not mine. I'm like, where did this leaf come from? Why is this rock? So I am not good at meditation, but what I am good at is visualization. And so your brain, when you are thinking about something, when you are enacting a story, it thinks it's happening in real time. And so it is creating that reality for you. So you can either spend your time visualizing the things that you don't want to happen in life, which then guess what? They often do. Or you can visualize yourself and be delusional. Like when you start to get good at it, I mean, I have the most insane dreams. I am coming for global domination. I want to be a household name so I can help as many people as possible so they can achieve their dreams. That's crazy sounding. And I shout it from the rooftops. I imagine that. I imagine going on stage, looking at my parents, looking at what that would look like, looking at my loved ones. Visualize instead of the things that hurt you or the things that you're scared of, or the fear of failure. Visualize what you want to create in this life, that project, like that. What is that? If you're a feeling person and you're like, girl, I need feelings. Okay, what impact is your project going to have on that person? Like, how are you going to feel so proud when you see this come to culmination and people are like cheering for you, or you're getting a check, or you're on a wall, or whatever your end goal is?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I 100% resonate, especially because for me, I mean, I really should be vocal. The whole thing with the 40 times. I mean, we're operating at a deficit all the time then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got to be
on
super sugar sweet, nice to yourself for a real long time to make. I'm thinking about 34 years of 40 times negative commentary to myself. I'm like, what do you have to get over that hump? But it's something that I need to, I think, really implement. But what has really helped me is, and maybe this is a little bit of narcissism, I don't know, but it's everything that happens to me, especially with my business, I pass it off as something that was supposed to happen. If, like, I had a client that canceled on me and I lost like $12,000.
Oh.
But it was because of my contracts. I had my contracts done to the tune of a lot of money.
Yeah.
But now I'm working with my attorney to get templates made for other creatives and turn it into a product and something that I can continue to like market, right? So like I always see all of the negative stuff, all the things that I'm not doing or it's not working or whatever as a redirection, as that's just where my mind has been, and maybe I'm just delirious.
No, I think it's perfect. I mean, and people can call it, if you think it's delirious, okay, then this ain't for you. But you could take that, so some people would have taken that loss, that $12,000 loss, and been like, it would have ended them. Or they would have just been in a grudge holding state for forever, understandably upset. But you took a problem and you created a solution. Yeah. You said, okay, well, this sucks. I don't want this to happen, not only to me again, but to others. So let me be able to help. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And that is the hallmark of an entrepreneur. Like life beats us down. Everyone's got a story. We're here. You're alive. You're snorting oxygen. We got work. It's tough.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
It's that. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it's beautiful. And so if you can, once again, you can train your mind, if you can train your mind to, okay, what are possibilities here? Or you can even, the questions you ask yourself, how do I see a possibility here? How do I see an opportunity? So you recognized where you're at, and you want to feel your feelings for sure. Don't get me wrong. Like, you want to have, but like pity parties and states of anger and sadness and they got to have an expiration date. Otherwise they will rule you. So I'm going to have a pity party for 24 hours. 72 if it's real serious, and then it's over, shoulders back, let's work.
And that's what I'm like, I do. Yeah, I give myself time. I think you need to give it that time, but I'm always like, okay, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
How am I rearranging my schedule? What am I making time for now? What's the fix? What can I control in that? And that's just my type A-ness, whatever. And maybe that's the reason it continues to work. But that's always my focus is, you know what? This is shitty and let's deal with it. But then let's figure out a way to fix. What can we do?
You recognize what's going on, but you didn't identify with it. You weren't like, this happened to me, Erik, because I am a big fat loser.
And it's my identity now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where we've got to separate. But we were never taught how to. The conversations around emotions and mindset and these things just started happening. Baby boomers are like the last frontier of emotional terrorists. The rest of us,
yes,
they really are. You see these dinosaurs, no offense, guys, but just spontaneously emoting and reacting to things. And my favorite, this lady, she was, millennials and Gen Z and Gen X, y'all are so sensitive. And I was like, with all due respect, Carol, aren't you not talking to your sister for over 25 years over a casserole recipe?
Yeah. Yeah. Right? I don't know. It's because they didn't have all the noise of everything else. I think we're so saturated. You know what I mean? That was the worry. That was the worry. We have to talk to somebody on their landline and use a map to go anywhere. And so, yeah, you're right.
It's so crazy, though. But also, when it comes to this work that you're doing when you're delving into the subconscious, and I love baby boomers. Sorry. Not pissing you off, guys.
Yes, okay.
We love everyone.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
But you don't want to hurt your feelings. But people are doing the best that they know how to do. So when you then take the lens of judgment out, if I think that you're doing the best you can, you're trying, then I'm not going to judge you. And then I'm not going to judge myself, because how we judge others is how we judge ourselves.
Yes, 100%. She's just dropping these. I'm having a real hard time starting this podcast out. This might have to be 3 parts, because let me tell you, oh my God, I need to rearrange my whole thought process now. Thanks, Megan.
You're welcome.
This is great. No, I love it, because I think we, like I said before, we're programmed to be, I think humans in general are programmed to be self-deprecating, but creatives, I think most especially because of all the things, right? We're seeing it as a commodity when it's really, I feel like, should be one of the most celebrated things that there is. And we've just got kind of a lot going against us, including ourselves. And I think a lot of that really it hinders our ability to intuit and to draw out that other from elsewhere, right? Because I know when I'm working on a specific, because up till this point we've been talking about like kind of projects in general, but like even when I get into the minutia of a project, client will come to me or will have an idea, and my initial download is like, it's all there. It's like, this is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. This is how it's going to go. And I said this a lot, that I spend a lot of my time during the project, because I'm logical, proving my original theory to see if it actually makes sense, because I'm willing to move from that. But that has been a huge interest for me of how did I get to that point? How did I get to the point that I have this crystal clear vision that ends up being right 99% of the time? It ends up being accepted, and it ends up being exactly what was needed. It's bizarre.
So I think one thing, like, even changing the language of proving your theory on it, let's fine tune it. You're just fine. You're not proving, because the thing is, proving is, I'm going to show you. You're fine tuning. And if 99% is a high closure rate, my friend.
Yeah. Seriously though, it's really bizarre. It's annoying to even say that, but I'm just like, that's what it is. But
why isn't it? We're taught, if you don't celebrate yourself, and that's the thing with creatives. I'm friends with so many different amazing people. One of my close friends is a photographer, but if you're not celebrating your success and what you're doing, no one else will. And then also, people don't feel that they can celebrate themselves. Your inner circle can manifest for you. Like, you are who you hang out with. But in regards to your 99% closing rate,
okay, we'll bump that down. Let's bump it down to 89.
No, we're going 100.
100%. I've never made anybody dissatisfied ever.
But
it's just the idea of being able to have that vision of what just a creative concept is, and then at the end of the day, it being what was necessary, I guess, is the execution is whatever. But that whole like beginning to end kind of thing is just a massive mystery to me. And I want other people to be able to feel that and to be able to be like sure in it. Does that
Well,
make
I don't,
sense?
it does make perfect sense. I don't think anyone's ever going to be sure. It's a
Yeah.
matter of just being like, I'm going to do it. And it's
Yeah.
having that excitement behind
Yeah.
it. And if you've got that burning idea or
Yeah.
whatever, just do it. Who cares if it sucks? I would love to, like, I wish that we could have that certainty. But what you can have is certainty within yourself.
Yeah.
And you do that with these practices. These practices are, they're for everyone. This is what the truly successful people of the world are doing. We, the little folk, are just the ones who got a hold of it finally after 200 years.
Safeguarding it for so long, and we all got wise eventually, and now it's
Yeah.
something we've got to actually, yeah. Yep.
So
I don't know.
visualization is so important, but it's trusting your, so if you got that feeling, you got that idea, then you just start to visualize it. What does it look like? If it comes naturally into your brain, then you know that was a gift to you. If you're just seeing it and you just have to take it from the cloud, that is a gift. Okay? Take it and run. And if someone doesn't like it, put it in your back pocket
Yeah.
and it'll come back another day.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's, yeah, we don't spend enough time. I think my focus has always been on like, well, the intuition, how do you get there? But it's the space. It's the space that's left when you can like parse apart all of
That's
this
a great way of
other
putting
stuff,
it.
right?
That's a beautiful way of putting it. And one great thing that an affirmation, I trust myself. Yeah, like
That's a good one.
I trust myself. I am capable. Because when you think you're capable, you're gonna just keep, you're like, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying this. Like even
Yeah.
when I'm in like immense fuckery. I remember I was really going through it 2.5 years ago, and I looked at one of my best friends and I was like, I love it. I'd do it again. And she was like, you're a psycho. Like, I'm watching you crawl out of hell. And I was like, but the thing is, I was like, but watch what I do with this. And
Exactly.
then I did.
Exactly. It's we discount. It's, obviously nobody wants to be in the crap situations. Nobody wants to be in the stuff that's hard. But at the end of the day, I've been through plenty of things where I'm like, yeah, that really friggin' sucked. But you know what? I would, if it's gonna lead me to where I am now, I would do it again and again.
Good times
Because
don't teach us good
no,
times don't teach
exactly.
you anything. Yeah,
No,
it's adversity. So I'm not saying don't by all means do not go out in the street and like
no,
challenge people to a duel.
do not. Yeah, no.
But like
A duel.
challenge yourself. Put that energy out there. What's the best that could happen? Oh, what's the worst that could happen is out. That is old news. What's the best that could happen? If you're stumped on something, ask yourself better questions. How can I do this? The minute you say no, your brain is like, if you ask me to go to Tahiti and I'm like, no, I can't afford it, then my brain's okay, I don't have to solve it. No, so there are no problem solving. If you ask me then and then say to go to Tahiti, I'm going to say, how can I afford that? And then all of a sudden, what happens is your brain and your intuition your magic, your mojo. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to sell this, and maybe I'm going to put my toes on OnlyFans, and maybe I'm going
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
amazing how things happen and how you figure it out when you allow for the possibility rather than just shutting it down right away.
Exactly. It's having space and
Yeah.
allowing.
Yeah. Oh my God. This has been this whole thing. I don't care about anybody else at this point. I'm like, this has been everything for me. Everything. So I want to know where we can find you, where we can work with you, all those good things. Where can we get in
So
touch?
I am everywhere. I'm on Instagram. So Wild Child Magic is my personal account. That's just where
Oh,
I get silly. Then my business account is the Megan Lund Initiative. If you want to join any events in Charleston, it is Wild Child Encounters. On TikTok, I'm Wild Child Magic. Then Ryan and I, your buddy Ryan, we have a
yes.
podcast. We have a podcast called Clairannoyance where we talk about the annoying aspects of spirituality. You can find us there. I have a website, meganlund.com. So if you want to work with me, you can send me an email there. That's getting remodeled right now. So many ways that you can find me.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be all over those. So I can't thank you enough for doing this. Go
Thank
listen to
you.
Clairannoyance. Seriously, listen to Clairannoyance. They're a hoot. They're like, I'm too serious on this, right? Like you guys, your podcast is every time it opens up, I'm like laughing 2 minutes in just because of the ridiculousness. It's amazing. It's so good. So go listen to
Thank you.
Clairannoyance. Thank you so much for being here, Megan, and I hope we get to do this again.
I would love to come back anytime. And if I can help anyone, please let me know. And if you are listening to this, you are on a path and you guys, you can do it. Believe in yourself. I mean, let's make some magic.